Hi guys, welcome to another beer review, and this is coming from the Beer 52's Can of the Year box. And yeah, quite a selection if you didn't see my unboxing, but you will be seeing reviews of pretty much all of the beers in this box because there are some definite beers that I want to try. And that was terrible England, I do apologise. But I thought I'd kick things off with a beer which I actually believe was, this is sort of like the big release of this beer. And it's from a brewery that has a really good, well-established reputation. But for some reason, I've never tried any of their beers. And they've been beers that I've wanted to try for quite a long time. But most of them are, all year round, sort of core range beers for the most part. But yeah, so I finally get to try two of their beers from this box. So the first one is called Dutty, spelled D-U-R-T-T, or is it Dutty? No, it's Dutty. I thought it was Dutty, but then again I thought that sounded silly. You've got that wrong, Peter. But no, it's Dutty, and this is described as a Vermont Session IPA, clocking in at 4.2%. So I'll quickly read you what it says in a little book that comes with the box, aka Ferment Magazine. So enjoy at 6 degrees Celsius. No idea how cold it is. I've commandeered, I should say, my younger brother's little fridge that he's got by his bed, and I've got a few beers in there because I'm due to do a hangout tonight. So yeah, it saves me going all the way downstairs when I can just go across the landing and I can have nice, fresh, cold beer. Plus, I'm stocked up on snacks, so I don't need to leave this room. Although, not gonna lie, I'm chafing like hell in this chair. Not that you needed to know that, but yeah, Tiny Rebel. Tiny Rebel are leading the charge of good beer in Wales and exporting their unique way of doing things all over the world. With a haul of trophies, certificates and other awards in the bag, and a singular focus to try anything and everything, they've come a long way from a garage in Newport. So tasting notes are, and I know people don't like to hear tasting notes before review, but, I like to train myself just as much as I like to enjoy beers. So I'm going to read it, and it doesn't really sink in anyway most of the time, because I'm an idiot, quite frankly. So unfiltered, murky, hazy, they don't quite capture what this beer is about. The combination of a silky smooth texture of a Vermont and the bursts of a bitterness and juicy flavours from the hops and the low sessionable strength make this one to enjoy over and over again. Didn't really give you too many tasting notes actually, so you can't cry in the comments now, even though nobody ever actually does, because I get positive comments 99.7% of the time. But yeah, anyway, awesome looking artwork, and there is the, of course, Tiny Rebel Teddy, which caused quite a controversy. I think it was on the Crotch, was it? Or was it the Club Tropicana? I can't remember. But yeah, people love to get offended, don't they? People go out of their way to be offended more than people go out of their way to offend. And it pisses me off, quite frankly. Because we're bringing up our children in this world. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, best before on this one is 16th of the 9th. 2018, so it's got a nice little shelf life to it. Not too sure when this was brewed, but yeah, does it actually tell you what hops are used? No, it doesn't. Oh well. But yeah, there we go. I don't mean to sound like a dick when I say this, but it sort of reminds me of either, even though they got kind of in trouble because one of the beers did look like, well, allegedly look like a soda. It does have that sort of feel. But it kind of also has sort of like a kitchen cleaning product look to it. But it's very vibrant and you sort of get an idea of what to expect. Plus it doesn't help when there's a shine there. But yeah, also the green and yellow and the iconography of a lion with long flocks of hair. That's not a term, Peter. Sort of has like a Jamaican sort of vibe. So yeah, it's very loud. It's very tropical. And yeah, let's see what it looks like in the glass. So there we go. We'll pour it in. and that is pouring exactly how you want a beer like this to pour. It's a luminous in that can, or in the glass, I should say. Yeah. When you're working in the call centre for hours, you kind of actually lose the ability to talk in real life. But yeah, it looks a bit darker on camera because the lighting's not too good. When is it ever, Peter? And yeah, but that is dense. Haze for days, unclear for years. It's got that sort of like a pineapple juice look to it, with maybe a hint of mango in there as well. It's like you've just got these vibrant fruits and like just squeeze them, and then it's all fallen into the glass. But yeah, nice, one finger's worth of a nice compact white looking head. So let's see what it smells like, because it looks absolutely fantastic. Very citrusy, I'd say. And it almost goes to that level, much like the appearance, where it smells like washing up liquid. You know, sort of like a lemon lime fairy or whatever. Other brands are available. And people might think that's a dig, but I actually really like that smell. But it's got like real fruit juice aromas as well. It's not one of those like really synthetic smelling beers, but they've got so much out of those hops in terms of the nose. It's mango, it's Kia Ora, citrus fruits, stone fruits. It's got a sort of like milkiness, and I do apologise about the sniffles. But even with like a kind of blocked nose, this is lovely and pungent in your face. It smells absolutely wonderful, it really, really does. But these beers very rarely smell bad, do they? You've got to do a really terrible job at a New England style IPA for it to be dull. Just for it to be dull, you've got to do a terrible job. So definitely in terms of the appearance and the aroma, they've got it spot on. So the most important part, of course, is what does it taste like? Cheers, guys. The big thing that works against this beer, and I find this a lot with session sort of IPAs and pale ales, body's a little too thin for my liking anyway. It's actually quite substantially more bitter than you would expect. It starts off with this vibrant, fruity, primarily citrusy flavour, but then that big, it's either like a grapefruit bitterness. You get that slight grapefruit bitterness, but it's like that big hoppy bitterness comes in. Sort of like what you'd get with like almost, dare I say it, a double going into a triple IPA sort of territory. It's got that bitterness, but that slight caramel sweetness. Very citrusy. It's very fruity. Hop forward. It's just that body really does detract from the beer overall, and I think I've got snot coming off my nose. Yeah, I'm too nasty to get a tissue. So apologies if anybody's a little bit squeamish. But yeah, do you know what? It's not bad. It's a first quenching beer. You know, you're not going to get yourself into too much trouble by having a couple of these on a warm or a hot summer's day, like we have been having every now and then. So when you're in that sort of environment, you don't care about like the nuances or like the boldness of the body. You just want something that's got a lovely fruity kick to it, nice, almost drying bitterness on the back end. It is refreshing. I don't know, it's very subtly puckering on the back end actually. But yeah, it's just the body is just a little too thin, and I find that with the style in general, or the session sort of umbrella of IPAs and pale ales. But you know what? If you've not tried any of these New England style IPAs, or Vermont style, and you want to get into them, but you're kind of a little put off by some of the big hitters from the likes of, you know, all the breweries in America, and of course the British breweries like Cloudwater and Verdant and Daya, and I think every brewery is doing their own sort of like hazy fruit bowl sort of IPAs now. But yeah, it's got a real sense of accessibility to it, which I think would work in its favour. But you're not going to get much out of it if you're a fan of the style overall. But it's not bad, and you know, I would not turn a beer like this down. I would happily drink a load of this because that big fruitiness up front almost cleanses your palate with that bitterness on the back end. So it'd be a really nice, flavoursome palate cleanser, if that makes sense. But it's an interesting introduction to Tiny Rebel. I know some of the more highly regarded beers would have probably been the better way to get into a brewery, sort of like the Stay Puft and the Club Tropicana and the Quatch. I can never remember how that's actually pronounced. But yeah, it's not bad, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, which means I would drink it again. So yeah, we're off to a solid start with the Can of the Year box. Maybe after I've done all these reviews, I'll do a little bit of a video talking about my favourite from best to worst or whatever. But by the time everyone's been uploaded, I'll have probably received like 2 other boxes from Beer 52 with the schedule that I've got with my videos. So that angle might be irrelevant. But I have been toying around with actually writing a blog. So I might have already hoard that out by the time you see this. We never know. I might do like a roundup. So if I have, by the time you're seeing this, then that will be in the description. But I'm sure I'll tell you about it anyway. So yeah, that's it really. Interesting introduction to Tiny Rebel. If you've tried this, then let me know your thoughts and opinions. What's your sort of opinion on the session IPAs and pale ales? I mean, I have some that have got ridiculously bold bodies, but I think that's like a skill that you have to hone in. And yeah, it's not a dig at the brewery, it's a dig at the style in general, to be honest. I'm just not that big of a fan, and I experienced a lot of beers like this when I was in Germany, when they were doing that, you know, because the craft boom is still in somewhat of an infancy over there. And there were a lot of session pale ales and IPAs that were just not really doing much. But this at least has that fruitiness there, and it looks great. It smells great. You could smell this beer all day. And yeah, it just has that washing up sort of liquid character, and the body's a bit too thin. That's really all I can say about it in a negative light. So 7 out of 10. Check out Tiny Rebel. If any of my friends and fellow beer tubers have reviewed it, then I'll put their links down below. Check out my Session Ale IPA playlist, and check out my Haze for Days playlist for some other great examples of the style. And of course, check out Beer 52. If you want to get yourself a nice little discount on your first box, then I'll put my referral link down below. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I shall hopefully see you all later. Cheers. Don't wink, Peter.